Imagine a man who struggled financially for years while trying to build his career. He faced rejection. He faced doubt. He felt alone in his ideas. Many doctors rejected his ideas. Every friend said his ideas were crazy, but he kept working. He kept believing. He spent long nights writing and thinking while the world slept. Today, we know his name everywhere. Sigmund Freud, the man who mapped the human mind. The father of psychoanalysis. The boy who asked too many questions became the man who answered them for all of us. His story will show you that your beginnings do not define your ending. That doubt does not mean stopping. That one person can change the world. Stay with me. This story will change how you see yourself. Chapter 1. The boy who asked too many questions. Imagine this. A small boy sits in a quiet room. The year is 1856. The place is a small town in Moravia, which is now part of the Czech Republic. His name is Sigmund Freud. He is only 6 years old, but his eyes are different. They look at the world with deep curiosity. Sigmund was born on May 6, 1856. His father was a wool merchant. His mother was a warm and loving woman. They were Jewish, and life was not easy for Jewish families at that time. Many people treated them unfairly. This made young Sigmund feel different from other children. When Sigmund was about 4 years old, his family moved to Vienna. They left their small town and traveled to Vienna, Austria. Vienna was a big city. It was full of life, music, and culture, but it was also a place where many people did not accept Jewish families. The Freuds had to start again in this new city. Picture this moment. A small family arrives in a busy city. They have few possessions. They do not know many people, but they have hope. Sigmund's parents wanted a better life for their children. They worked hard every day. Sigmund was the first son of his mother. She loved him very much. She believed he was special. His mother believed he was destined for greatness. These words stayed in Sigmund's heart for his whole life. He wanted to make his mother proud. As a child, Sigmund was very serious. While other boys played in the streets, he liked to read books. He spent many hours alone in his room. He read stories about history, science, and great men. He dreamed about becoming someone important. Sigmund was also very smart. He finished at the top of his class in school. His teachers noticed his talent. They said he had a special mind. But Sigmund did not care about praise. He cared about understanding things. He always asked questions. Why do people think the way they think? Why do people feel fear? Why do people dream? These questions were not normal for a young boy. Most children did not think about such things. But Sigmund could not stop thinking. His mind was always working, always searching for answers. As you listen, notice the new words. Curiosity means wanting to know more. Merchant means a person who sells things. Possessions means the things you own. This story helps you improve your listening skills while you learn about an amazing life. Sigmund's father was not a rich man. The family lived in a small apartment. 7 children lived in that small space. It was crowded. But Sigmund found a corner for himself. He made it his own little world. In that corner he could think. He could read. He could dream. One day, when Sigmund was young, something happened that changed him. He saw how people treated his father. Some men were not respectful. They said bad things because his father was Jewish. Sigmund felt angry. He felt helpless. But he also made a promise to himself. He would become someone powerful, someone people could not ignore. This promise became his fire. It burned inside him every day. It pushed him to study harder, to read more books, to learn everything he could. Sigmund finished high school with excellent grades. He was the best student in his class. Now he had to choose his future. What would he become? A lawyer? A businessman? A teacher? But Sigmund wanted something different. He wanted to understand the human mind. He wanted to know why people behave the way they do. So, he made a decision. He would study medicine. He would become a doctor. In 1873, at the age of 17, Sigmund entered the University of Vienna. This was a big moment for him. He was leaving his childhood behind. He was stepping into the world of adults. He was ready to begin his journey. But Sigmund did not know what waited for him. He did not know about the struggles ahead. He did not know about the failures. He did not know about the enemies who would try to stop him. He only knew one thing. He had to follow his mind. He had to find the truth. Think about this. How many times in your life did you feel different from others? How many times did people not understand you? Sigmund felt this way too, but he did not let it stop him. He used it as fuel for his dreams. The young boy from Moravia was now a young man in Vienna. He had big dreams. He had a sharp mind. He had a mother who believed in him. But the road ahead would not be easy. Nothing worth achieving ever is easy. Chapter 2. The Long Night of Doubt and Poverty. Now imagine a different scene. It is 10 years later. Sigmund is no longer a boy. He is a man in his late 20s. But he does not look happy. He looks tired. He looks worried. After university, Sigmund began working in a hospital. He studied the brain and the nervous system. He wanted to understand how the mind works. But there was a big problem. He had no money. Medical work did not pay well at that time. Sigmund worked long hours every day, but at the end of each month, he could barely pay for food. He lived in a small, cold room. He wore old clothes. He ate simple meals. Picture this moment. Sigmund sits at a small table. It is late at night. A single candle burns on the table. He is writing notes. His hands are cold. His stomach is empty. But he keeps working. He keeps studying. He keeps believing. For 8 long years, he struggled financially for several years while building his career. 8 years of doubt. 8 years of asking himself, did I make the right choice? During this time, Sigmund met a woman. Her name was Martha Bernays. She was kind and intelligent. Sigmund fell in love with her, but he could not marry her. He had no money. He had no stable job. He had nothing to offer her. Martha waited for him. She believed in his dreams, but waiting was hard. Sigmund felt guilty. He wanted to give her a good life. But how could he do that when he could barely feed himself? This period was the darkest time in Sigmund's life. He questioned everything. He questioned his choices. He questioned his abilities. He questioned whether his ideas about the mind were even correct. Some colleagues were skeptical of his new ideas. They said, find a normal job, make money, forget about these strange ideas. But Sigmund could not forget. The questions in his mind were too strong. As you listen, notice how we talk about feelings. Doubt means not being sure. Poverty means having no money. Guilty means feeling bad about something you did or did not do. These words help you express deep emotions in English. Sigmund's friends moved on with their lives. They got married. They bought houses. They had children. Sigmund watched them from the side. He felt alone. He felt left behind. But something important was happening inside Sigmund's mind. While his life looked like failure, his thoughts were growing. He was developing new ideas, ideas that no one had thought of before. He began to notice patterns in his patients. People came to him with problems, headaches, fear, sadness. But there was no physical cause. Their bodies were healthy, but their minds were in pain. Sigmund started to ask new questions. What if the problem is not in the body? What if the problem is in the mind? What if past experiences shape our present feelings? These ideas were radical. No doctor had spoken like this before. Medicine was about the body, not the mind, not emotions, not dreams. Sigmund began to write down his thoughts. He filled notebook after notebook. He worked late into the night. He sacrificed sleep. He sacrificed comfort. He sacrificed everything for his work. In 1886, Sigmund finally had enough money to marry Martha. They had 6 children together. Martha became his support. She managed the home. She raised the children. She allowed Sigmund to focus on his work. But money was still a problem. Sigmund needed more patients. He needed more income. He opened a private practice in Vienna. He treated people with nervous problems, but not many people came. People did not understand his methods. He talked to patients. He listened to their stories. He did not give them medicine. He did not perform surgeries. He just talked. Many other doctors laughed at him. They called his work useless. They said he was wasting his time. They said he was not a real doctor. Think about this. Have you ever worked hard on something, but people did not value it? Have you ever felt like no one understood your vision? Sigmund felt this every single day. The criticism hurt him, but it also made him stronger. He began to trust his own judgment more than the judgment of others. He learned to stand alone. He learned to believe in himself when no one else did. This period of struggle lasted for many years, but slowly something began to change. Sigmund's ideas started to attract attention. A small group of doctors became interested in his work. They saw something special in his thinking. The long night of doubt was finally ending. The morning was coming, but Sigmund did not know it yet. He just kept working. He kept writing. He kept believing. Chapter 3. The Dream That Changed Everything. Imagine this scene. It is the year 1895. Sigmund is 39 years old. He sits in his study in Vienna. The room is filled with books. Paper covers every surface. He looks exhausted, but his eyes are bright with excitement. Something amazing has happened. Sigmund has finished writing a book. It is called The Interpretation of Dreams. This book would change everything, but Sigmund did not know that yet. For years, Sigmund had been studying dreams. He asked his patients to tell him about their dreams. He wrote down every detail. He looked for patterns. He searched for meaning. Most people thought dreams were random. They thought dreams had no meaning. They were just images that appeared when we slept. But Sigmund believed in something different. He believed dreams were messages. They came from the deepest part of the mind. They showed hidden desires. They showed hidden fears. They showed things we did not want to admit when we were awake. Picture this moment. Sigmund writes the final words of his book. His hands are tired. His eyes are heavy. But he feels something he has not felt in years. He feels hope. He feels that he has discovered something true. The book was published at the end of 1899, but it was dated 1900. But at first, almost no one read it. Only a few hundred copies were sold in the first few years. It was not a success. It was not famous. It was almost ignored. But Sigmund did not give up. He continued to see patients. He continued to develop his ideas. He continued to write. He believed in his work, even when the world did not. During this time, Sigmund developed more theories. He talked about the unconscious mind. This is the part of our mind that we cannot see. It holds our hidden thoughts, our hidden memories, our hidden desires. He also talked about childhood experiences. He believed that what happens to us as children shapes who we become as adults. This was a new idea. He made childhood experiences central to understanding adult behavior. As you listen, notice these important words. Unconscious means not aware. Desires means strong wants. Childhood means the time when you were a child. Learning these words helps you understand psychology in English. These ideas were complex, but Sigmund explained them in simple ways. He used examples from daily life. He used stories from his patients. He made difficult concepts understandable. Slowly, a small group of followers began to gather around Sigmund. They were young doctors. They were psychologists. They were thinkers. They saw the value in his work. They wanted to learn from him. This group became known as the psychoanalytic movement. They met regularly in Sigmund's home. They discussed cases. They shared ideas. They supported each other. For the first time in his life, Sigmund did not feel alone. He had a community. He had people who believed in his vision. This gave him new energy. It gave him new confidence. In 1902, Sigmund was given a position at the University of Vienna. This was a big achievement. It meant that his work was finally being recognized. He was no longer an outsider. He was part of the academic world. But not everyone was happy about this. Many older professors did not like Sigmund's ideas. They thought his theories were too strange. They thought he was dangerous. They tried to stop his influence. Think about this. When you have a new idea, people often resist it. They fear change. They prefer the old ways. Sigmund faced this resistance every day, but he kept moving forward. The turning point came gradually. More and more doctors began to see the value in psychoanalysis. More and more patients reported improvement after treatment. More and more books were written about Sigmund's work. By 1910, his ideas were spreading across Europe and beginning to reach America. The boy who asked too many questions had become the man who answered them. The doctor who lived in poverty had become a respected thinker. The outsider had become a leader. But success brings new challenges, and Sigmund would face challenges he never expected. The road ahead would test him in ways he could not imagine. Chapter 4: The King of the Mind and His Enemies. Now, picture a different time. It is 1920. Sigmund Freud is 64 years old. He sits in his famous study in Vienna. The room is filled with ancient artifacts. Books line every wall. Patients come from all over the world to see him. Sigmund Freud is now famous. His name is known across Europe and beyond. His books are translated into many languages. Students travel from distant countries to learn from him. He has achieved what he dreamed of as a young boy. But fame brings enemies, and Sigmund had many enemies. Some were other doctors who disagreed with his theories. Some were people who feared his ideas. Some were those who simply did not understand him. One of the biggest conflicts came from within his own group. Carl Jung was one of Sigmund's closest followers. He was like a son to Sigmund. Sigmund believed Jung would continue his work after he was gone. But slowly, Jung began to disagree with Sigmund. He had different ideas about the mind. He had different theories about dreams. He had a different vision for psychoanalysis. Imagine this moment. Sigmund and Jung sit across from each other. They are both brilliant men. They both want to understand the human mind, but they cannot agree. Their friendship ends. It is a painful moment for both of them. This was not the only conflict. Alfred Adler, another close follower, also left Sigmund's group. He had his own ideas about psychology. He formed his own school of thought. These departures hurt Sigmund deeply. He had invested so much in these relationships. He had seen these men as his successors. Now they were gone. Now they were competitors. As you listen, notice how we describe relationships. Followers mean people who believe in a leader. Successors means people who continue someone's work. Competitors mean people who compete against you. These words help you talk about professional relationships in English. Despite these conflicts, Sigmund continued his work. He wrote more books. He treated more patients. He trained more students. His influence continued to grow. By the 1920s, psychoanalysis was a major movement. There were psychoanalytic societies in many countries. There were journals dedicated to Freud's ideas. There were clinics using his methods. Sigmund received many honors. He was invited to speak at universities. He was given awards for his contributions. He was recognized as one of the most important thinkers of his time. He lived comfortably, but he was not interested in luxury. He charged reasonable fees for his patients. He wanted his work to be accessible. He cared more about spreading his ideas than making money. In 1923, Sigmund faced a personal tragedy. He was diagnosed with cancer of the jaw. It was a painful condition. It required many surgeries over the years. He wore a prosthetic device in his mouth. It caused him constant discomfort. Picture this scene. Sigmund is in pain. He is getting older. His body is failing, but his mind is still sharp. He continues to write. He continues to work. He does not let pain stop him. For 16 years, Sigmund lived with this illness. He underwent more than 30 surgeries. Each one was painful. Each one made him weaker. He rarely spoke publicly about his pain. He never stopped working. During this time, Sigmund wrote some of his most important works. He wrote about civilization. He wrote about religion. He wrote about the future of humanity. His mind remained creative until the end. Think about this. How many people give up when they face pain? How many people stop working when they face illness? Sigmund showed us that the mind can be stronger than the body. Sigmund's family was his support during these difficult years. His daughter Anna became his assistant. She helped him with his work. She protected him from too much stress. She became a psychoanalyst herself. Sigmund had 6 children, 3 sons and 3 daughters. They all loved him. They all respected his work. They saw his dedication. They saw his courage. They saw his passion for truth. The world was changing around Sigmund. New ideas were emerging. New theories were developing. Some people said psychoanalysis was outdated. Some people said it was not scientific. Some people said it was wrong. But Sigmund did not worry about these criticisms. He knew his work had value. He knew he had contributed something important to humanity. He was at peace with his legacy. By 1938, Sigmund was 82 years old. He was weak. He was in pain. But he was still working. He was still thinking. He was still the man who mapped the human mind. In 1938, after the Nazis took control of Austria, Freud and his family were forced to flee to London. Chapter 5. The Final Chapter and the Eternal Lesson. Now imagine the final scene. It is 1938. Austria is no longer safe for Jewish people. The Nazis have taken power. They are persecuting Jewish families. They are taking their property. They are hurting innocent people. Sigmund Freud is Jewish. His name is well known. His books are being burned by the Nazis. His work is being rejected. His life is in danger. Picture this moment. Sigmund sits in his study one last time. He looks at his books. He looks at his artifacts. He looks at the place where he worked for so many years. He knows he must leave. He knows he cannot stay. With the help of friends and supporters, Sigmund and his family escaped from Vienna. They went to London, England. It was a difficult journey. Sigmund was old. He was sick. He was tired. But he made it. In London, Sigmund spent his final year. He was weak. He was in constant pain from his cancer. He knew his time was ending, but he faced death with courage. He faced it with dignity. On September 23, 1939, Sigmund Freud passed away. He was 83 years old. After years of severe pain, his doctor helped ease his suffering in his final days. He died in London, far from his beloved Vienna. But his work lived on. His ideas continued to spread. His influence continued to grow. As you listen, notice these final words. Persecuting means treating people unfairly because of their identity. Legacy means what you leave behind after you die. Dignity means facing difficult situations with honor. These words help you talk about important life moments in English. After his death, Sigmund Freud's work continued to influence the world. Psychoanalysis became one of the most influential movements in psychology. His ideas influenced millions of people around the world. His ideas shaped psychology, psychiatry, and even popular culture. Today, more than 80 years after his death, Freud's name is still known. People still study his theories. People still debate his ideas. People still use his methods in therapy. But Sigmund's story is not just about psychology. It is about something deeper. It is about the human spirit. It is about never giving up. It is about believing in yourself when no one else does. Think about Sigmund's journey. He started as a poor boy in a small town. He faced years of poverty and doubt. He faced criticism from other doctors. He faced conflicts with his followers. He faced illness and pain. He faced persecution and exile. But he never stopped. He never gave up. He never abandoned his vision. He followed his mind until the very end. He showed us what courage looks like. He showed us what dedication looks like. He showed us what belief looks like. What can we learn from Sigmund Freud's life? Here are some lessons. First, your beginnings do not determine your ending. Sigmund did not start with fame or recognition. He had to build his reputation slowly. But he ended as one of the most famous thinkers in history. Where you start does not matter. Where you are going matters. Second, doubt is normal. Sigmund doubted himself for many years. He questioned his choices. He questioned his abilities. But he kept working anyway. Doubt does not mean you should stop. Doubt means you are growing. Third, criticism will come. People will not always understand your vision. They will not always support your dreams. But their opinions do not define your worth. Only you define your worth. Fourth, pain can test you. But it does not have to define you. Sigmund lived with pain for 16 years. But he did not let it stop him. He worked through it. He created through it. Pain passes. But what you create can last forever. Fifth, legacy is not about fame. It is about contributions. He cared deeply about his ideas and wanted them to be taken seriously. He worked because he believed in his ideas. He worked because he wanted to help people. True legacy is about what you give, not what you get. Not everyone agrees with Freud's theories today. Some of his ideas are debated, but no one can deny his impact on psychology. Now I want to ask you something. Think about your own life. Think about your own dreams. Think about your own struggles. What is the biggest dream in your life right now? Write your answer in the comments below. Share your dream with this community. Let's support each other. Let's encourage each other. Let's grow together. Many people will watch this video, but only a few will comment. Be one of them. Sigmund Freud's story reminds us that one person can change the world. One mind can create new ideas. One life can inspire millions. You have that same potential. You have that same power. You have the same ability to make a difference. Do not wait for permission. Do not wait for approval. Do not wait for the perfect moment. Start now. Work hard. Believe in yourself. The world needs your ideas. The world needs your voice. The world needs your contribution. If you enjoyed this story, like, share, and subscribe to this channel. We create more stories like this every day. Stories that inspire. Stories that teach. Stories that help you learn English while you learn about amazing lives. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this community. Remember, your story is just beginning. Make it count. Make it meaningful. Make it yours. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, keep believing.